Hello, Interverse. Hello, Steemit, Whale Shares, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, wherever you are. Hello, hello, hello. Crypto G here, coming at you with another video tutorial. This time I wanted to show you the amazing video editing software Lightworks. Now we are going to be doing a Feynman tutorial. That's whereby I'm going to try and, as simply as possible, explain what keyframes are and how to use them in order to create a zoom effect on your video. Okay, let's jump straight into it. As we can see, we got Lightworks here. It's a very simple interface. I love it. I used to be a pro editor and I absolutely love it. We come up here to the left, create new project. I can type my project's name in. I'm just going to type Feynman. Feynman's got an N, which I discovered today. Feynman tutorial keyframes. Okie dokie. I could put a message in it here if I wanted to, blah blah blah, but I'm not going to. And then I'm going to choose my frame rate. Now I've just grabbed some footage from the internet. I'll put a link down below to the site because it's brilliant, lots of HD and 4K footage, and I know it's 24 frames per second. If you're not sure, just choose auto, but I know this is 24, and then that's it, all set up. We just hit create and boom. Now I quite like these. I've left the hints on just to show you some program hints. I don't find that helpful, but with Lightworks I do, so I kind of leave them on. There we go. Let's go up to where I know they are. So I'm just going to hit here. I'm going to go to Feynman tutorials, and there we go. Skateboarder big jump. So I'm just going to double click this. Now I could, at this point, oops, why isn't it doing that? There we go. I could at this point scrub. There we go. Scrub, which is what editors call just going through the clip quickly. And I could add in and out points, but I'm not going to. I'm recording the screen and I think it makes everything sometimes a little bit jerky. Okay, so we're just going to double click, and that is now in our project. And we can have a look. That's gone from local files up here on the left to project content. Okay, now I'm just going to hit edit here at the top, and I'm just going to drag this file down onto the timeline. Oops, there we go, down onto the timeline, and you can now see it in the viewer on the right hand, and this is basically what you'd be seeing on your screen when the video is playing. So first things first, I'm just going to quickly scrub through to where I actually want to start the video. Oops. Let's do it on the timeline and zoom in a bit, be a bit more accurate. And yeah, let's say I want to start from about there. Okay, so I'm going to press C on my keyboard. Right, then I'm going to go to the left of my playhead here, and I'm just going to right click and I'm going to hit remove. Okay, and then I'm going to go to where I want the video to end. He does the jump, great ollie I should say, totally rad. And we're going to finish just as he goes off screen. He kind of comes back, but I'm not going to use that. So okay, then we hit C again to create a cut. I'm going to right click and I'm going to remove. Okay, then we're going to put it back at the beginning just simply by right clicking and hitting close gap. I can either use my wheel on my mouse or the home button to bring my playhead back to the beginning of the clip. Bring it home. Okay, so now we're going to use keyframes to create a zoom effect. So what are frames? First of all, frames are individual pictures that make up a video. And as we saw with this video, it is, if I go to local files there, we see it's 24 frames per second, meaning that there are 24 individual pictures. Each time I nudge this, as you can see, nudge one frame forwards. If I nudge this 24 times, then that will essentially be a second. So a video has frames. Now the keyframes are whereby we use keyframes when we want to change something. So in this example, I want the video to be zoomed in as the skater is at the top, so that we don't see most of this background and the skater takes up most of the screen. And then as he lands, I want to zoom back out again, and that's it. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to go to the VFX tab up here at the top above the viewer. Click VFX, standing for Visual Effects, and we have this. I'm just going to quickly adjust for timeline so it's a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to right click and I'm going to say Add. Now your menu might look like this, might even look like this. Sometimes the favorites are open, but it's DVE you want to open, and click 2D DVE. 2D DVE. This will bring this up. Again, your menu here might look like this originally with the color correction wheels, but we're not going to use those, so I'm just going to minimize that and open that. There we go, DVE. So now, as I said, we use keyframes to change. So I want the zoom to start there. We always need at least 2 keyframes, where the effect starts and where the effect finishes. So I'm going to start just there, just as he starts to take off. Let's nudge forwards a couple of frames. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, then I'm going to come down here on the left at the bottom. Oh, no, I'm not. As we can see, it's grayed out. I can't add anything, and that's because I haven't told the program exactly what I want as a keyframe. So I want to keyframe, first of all, the scale, because I'm going to zoom in. Right, the scale is at 1, just 1 magnification. And when I zoom in, it'll zoom in around this central point here, as we can see here. But I'll want it to be over here, so I need to keyframe the X and the Y axes, which basically is up and down, left and right. Okay, so now I'm going to add the first keyframe, because I've got my playhead where I want. Boom, there. Okay, and then we're going to scrub through. Oops, that's a bit too much. Scrub through to, yeah, that looks about good. Let's get it a bit more accurate by just nudging. There we go, that looks about good. Looks about right, I should say. And then we're going to hit plus there. Okay, you can see these little pink diamonds here on the bottom left. They represent my keyframes. And then, so now we're zoomed in, and I immediately want to start zooming out. And I want to be fully zoomed out just as he lands. Let's just get it so his arms are a bit up in the air. Yeah, there we go, just as he lands. So I'm going to add a keyframe there. Okay, so now I've marked out exactly where I want the effect to go. Let's actually put that effect in. So I'm going to use these arrows on the bottom left here to jump to my reference points. There's the first one, and that's good. That looks all good to me. So I'm going to go to the second one, which is where it's going to be zoomed in. So let's start with scale. Zoom in on scale. Oh, there we go. And as I said, as you can see, it's zoomed in the center. So now we're going to use the y-axis, move that to the left, and that'll move it up a bit. Move the x-y axes to the right a bit. There we go, and maybe even I want that a little bit lower to bring in the table. There we go, that looks pretty good. Now I want to go to my next keyframe. Aha, and there we go. It's actually kept it at its original default, which is 0.5, 0.5 for the x and y axes, and 1. So if I had wanted to, for instance, keep that for a little bit, I would have made 2 keyframes and I would have made sure that all of these 0.62, 0.62, 2.35 were the same, and then it would stay zoomed in at that level. But because I didn't want that, I left that at just one keyframe and it resets. So let's have a look. Let's go. We can use this button here to go back to the beginning of the clip. Let's play that. Have a look. There we go. He comes in, and there we go. Look, zooms. Beautiful. Now, you can always add more keyframes if you like. Let's say between the first one, let's have a look as it plays up. Yeah, so maybe we lose a bit of his skateboard. I could add, say, another one in between here. Let's just move along here. And let's say I'd still want his keyboard, his skateboard, not his keyboard, in shot. Add a keyframe there. Zoom out slightly. Move it down a little bit. There we go. Move it down a bit, and there we go. And let's have a look at that. Move that to the beginning. And there we go. That keeps more of his skateboard in shot because I've just changed that. You can also, which is very handy, let's say, let's go to my keyframe. Oops, no, wrong one, wrong arrow. Here we go. Let's go to that keyframe there. Let's say that, actually, I wanted that zoom a little bit later. I can actually just mouse over here and right click. You'll see it goes yellow, and I can move it along. And I can move that keyframe along, and I can move any of these keyframes just simply by right clicking on them. And as you can see, I can delete them as well. I can delete with the plus or minus. But being able to move the keyframes is quite handy. I'll just have a quick look at how that's done. And there we go. So it's slightly different to where he was fully zoomed in. It just moved over the table, as we can see. So that is basically, that's it, guys. It's as simple as that. Just use your keyframes. So you can see I've made that a bit later because I moved the keyframe along. Use keyframes when you want to change something about the video. In this case, we have used the DVE, XY axes, and the master scale to change the zoom and the position of the camera. But you could do the same for color correction and a whole host of other things. So I hope this has helped you understand exactly what people mean when they say keyframes, how to use them and manipulate them. And yeah, hopefully you're going to go now and play around with Lightroom and check that out. Just last thing, when you've finished, I hate it when tutorials don't do this. If you're just new to the software, is show you how to export. Quite simply, right click, export. As you can see, the free version, you can do H.264 and nothing else, but that's fine. Or go to Vimeo and YouTube. Okay. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. Hopefully that was pretty simple. Hopefully a child could follow this if they were listening to me and watching the video. So yeah, see you next time. Crypto G out.